Hello, my name is Michael Glenn, and in this episode of the Dojo Show, we're studying the kata Mawashi or Mawashi Dori. In this kata that I studied with Hatsumi Sensei, the Mawashi or Mawari gets you spinning around yourself or around the kukan or around your opponent in a way that helps you to defeat him. We're doing a kata that's called Mawashi Dori, sometimes Mawari Dori, and there's a subtle difference between Mawashi and Mawari, and we'll talk about that later. The one I'm going to start off with is Mawashi. Okay, so here, receiving. Okay, so I enter in here, spin, kick to the groin, knock the sword away. Okay, that's the full kata. So notice I'm offline here from the sword, okay? So, but I'm really low, all right? So here I come, spin. Okay, this is a kick to the groin. Knock the sword free. So, so I receive, come here, this right foot kicks in the groin, and that knocks the sword free. So I receive here, I come up, see my positioning here.
And I was going wrong?
You were spinning and ending up back here, so it's kind of hard to reach, right? The kata says that you attack his hands to knock the sword free. It's done with a jutte or a tessen or a kunai.
Okay.
Yeah. The shoto makes it a little different, but you can still do it. The first detail that's really important here is basic muto dori. So we're starting off in this kamae, right, with this hidden behind the leg here. So as he cuts, I'm doing this. Okay, left foot forward. Right, and just letting that miss me, okay? So that part's really important, just enough to let it miss you. You don't want to evade too far, okay? So a mistake that you might make would be to, come way over here, and that gives him a lot more room to maneuver, okay? So you don't want to evade too far, you want to keep it close. So then this just receives, okay? So if this were a jutte, it would have the hook on there as well to help control the sword. With the kunai, you don't have that, so you have to be a little more cautious. If you're using the shoto, you have the suba, which can help, right? So just try to let him come to you, right? Don't try to reach out and meet it. So he's coming to me. The next thing I want to do is allow this to slide. So I'm here more on the middle of his blade. That's not a great position for me, right? So I allow this to slide. Then I can rotate here. Okay, kick, knock the sword free, right? The last move is you're attacking the hands to knock the sword free, okay? So here, I receive here, slide down by the suba, okay? Spin here, kick in the groin, knock the sword free. So what I don't want to do is, like this. Try to clash with him. He'll be too strong for me, and it gives him too much room to maneuver. He'll chop my arm off, right? So instead, I let him come to me, just receiving here. Okay, this can strike on the way by. There's the groin shot. There's the head shot. Okay, see all these things that can happen. All right, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So everybody try it again with some of this feeling, okay? Where you receive on the blade, don't stay there. Allow it to slide down near the suba, okay? One thing you might want to play with is, so here, right? I slide in here. As I move, keep this arm stretched out. See where that puts me? And kick, knock that away. This is a face full right there, right? If you keep that arm stretched out, it might put you in the right spot. Okay. Yeah. Hey Sean, one small detail on that kick. So after you've ducked under, so you spin and duck under here, this kick happens with the right foot with the toes.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting it to the nuts, basically.
So heel.
Yeah, heel is harder to get the nuts.
Yeah,
So
sure.
this is a scooping kick with the toes.
Okay.
And it could be toes up like that.
Okay.
Right, it could be.
So really go in there and get the nuts.
Yeah, you need to get a reaction out of him that will get him to double over like that, you know?
Sure.
This hand that's out front is going to be used for deception, okay? It's obviously not going to do anything against his sword, right? If I leave it there, it'll get chopped off. So it's used for deception, okay? So I have it here, and it's helping me to control the distance between us, right? And so as he comes in, this hand drops, okay, out of the way. It kind of retracts and moves and changes the shape of the space there. So this you want to replace where that hand was. So this hand is here. This comes to the same spot, okay? And you want it also to be slightly above your head. Okay, if you're trying to catch it down here, you'd be in trouble. Okay? So if I try to catch it down here, I'm in a lot of trouble. Yeah, he can easily turn the blade and get me, right? So it's slightly above my head. Then I can slide there, enter, strike, turn. So he's coming in with his cut here, right? This time I can receive this way. Allow that to slide, and then it comes across his hands here. You see how I'm locking up his hand? Yeah. If it's a piece of iron, you know, it hurts, it feels different than the wood. So here, okay. I just rotate here, okay. You see I'm controlling other things on his body while I do that. And then this kunai can be jabbing him in the ribs there, right? So I receive here, I still slide down and then allow it to go across the kote there. So I locked up his kote and then I used the butt of it to hit him in the jaw. So here, right? This is across his hand. So I can use this to lock up kote and then strike in the jaw. Okay. Does that make sense? So I'm using a reverse grip. Okay. So here, this is just across the hands. Okay. Then you have this here to hit him with. You can strike bone, right? You can stab in. You guys, if you're using the shoto, don't grab your own blade, okay? So a mistake that I'm seeing is you come up here and then right here you're cutting your own fingers, right? Yeah, you don't want to do that. So if you're using the shoto, I come up here and I allow it to rotate, so I'm cutting his fingers. So one of the keys in this technique is something that I've been talking about a lot this year that's related to this year's theme. You want to create a space for yourself to work, right? Open up some space in the kukan where you can be safe. And there's a certain spot here where this happens. So as he's cutting, right, I receive here. This is where I've created space, right? I attack this here and there's a lot of space now for me to work with. See all this space, right? I have so much space to use. So you want to open the space up for yourself to work in. Don't sit there and argue over one point. And that's where we all get trapped, right? You get the guy locked up and you get his sword kind of under control, but then you get stuck there. You lock yourself up at the same time, right? Oh, so here, so I receive, right? I've opened up some space here. See all this space? So much room for me to work, right? I could keep that space going here, right? I can attack his arm, I can deal with somebody else. Lots of possibilities. So one thing I like to do, stay there, Bill, for a second. One thing I like to do here, Richard, is once you have this under control, let it go. So you're here for a second, right, to cause him to react, and then you just control this, and yeah, so he would be in a lot of trouble at that point. Yeah. Things is coming here, right? I receive this. I'm attacking here, but I don't want to stay on this, right? I attack for a second, and then I'm free. Okay. So allow yourself to free up at that point. Don't try to stay there wrestling with him, okay? Because if for some reason it's not having the effect you want, you could be in trouble. All right. So here, right? I attack the hands here, but then I let it free. Okay. So I attack the hands enough to get the reaction I want, and then I let it free. So here it's like, right? You okay, man? All right. So that's like a battlefield kind of situation, right? So you attack him and you're on to the next guy, right? So allow yourself to get some freedom. You're tight here for a second until he reacts, and then you free up. Okay? So here. See all this space I have now? Right? Bill's in big trouble here. Like I can attack there, I can attack low, I can come out here and attack. Because I opened up space for myself to work. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm still getting trapped on that lock.
Yeah, I mean, you could still take the lock, right? There's no reason you can't. So here, I can take this lock, but then I leave it behind.
Hey.
Yeah. So you take the lock long enough to give you some advantage, maybe. Maybe he'll release the sword. Yeah, well, it makes him release the sword, because your hand's getting cut, so you don't want to hang on anymore. Here. Well, just see this space I have now, right? Lots of stuff can happen at that point, right? So you can still, if you want, go to the lock, but create that space first. So this was Mawashi Dori. Sometimes this is called Mawari Dori, but Mawari is really done a different way. And Soke, I've seen him do it like that. So we'll look at that now, Mawari Dori, okay? So he's got the sword there. He's using a ninja toe, which is a little bit different distance, okay? So you gotta be conscious of that. So you can start off in this kamae, or like Soke always does, start off just here, okay? So as he comes in, so I'm circling this around, okay? So it's interesting because I didn't put any effort, and yet he went flying, right? No, but it's the throw doesn't happen with my own strength. That's the trick with this. So here, right? We were talking about opening up space, right? I can attack the arm here and knock the sword free, or just stick to him. So you okay?
Yeah.
How'd that feel, the whole thing?
I'm always off balance.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm throwing myself.
Right.
I'm off balance. Then something else is getting attacked I don't like.
Sure.
And I want to get away, but my foot's trapped.
Right.
So it's a losing game.
Yeah. So just this Mawari feeling. Here I've got the string trapped too, so I can just use that, right? You okay? So keeping it light. So I'm staying guarded here in case he feels like doing anything with that sword. So Mawashi is like spinning. So we were spinning, right? Mawari is like rotation. Okay, so it's like you're rotating this in the space, going around the circumference. Okay, so it comes up through here, right? And then I can rotate around, stay on it. Okay. You can keep the rotation going in here, right? Striking stuff. This kata is meant to be done with a jutte, right? And so the jutte does it a little different. It actually traps the sword, and it's a little safer for your hand. So if you're using a shoto, that has a suba on it, so that also can be useful for that. If you're using this, you want to use it differently. So in this case, I just rotate there. Okay, you see what's happened. Now you can keep these rotations going, right? In the last kata we did, in the last version of this, I start here and I slide to the suba, right? And that's where I did my rotation from there, okay? In this one, you want the same kind of thing to happen. So I receive out here on the sword and I slide up to his suba, right? You got an attack to the collarbone and then his arm got sliced, yeah. But it's going down the sword up to the suba. You don't want to lose that contact. And what I see people do on this is, well, now I'm in big trouble. His sword is longer than mine, yeah. So I don't want to lose that connection. So instead I raise this up the center, spin, stay connected, coming up to the suba. Okay, now he's in trouble. I receive here, this slides to the suba. He doesn't like it a bit. You guys understand? So as you circle there, this is when you do the Hiryu no Ken from Togakure-ru with the ninja toe, that's actually what you do. You rotate around like this and you advance up towards the suba. Does anybody know that kata? Yeah. Yeah, it's a ninja toe kata, yep. And you rotate up the sword and control at the suba, right? So with the shoto, it's not a ninja toe, but you need to close distance somehow, and that's one of the tricks you use. Maintain that connection and advance up the sword, okay? As you rotate. So it rotates and you're closing distance in the rotation, okay? Try it, please. Hey, Sean, that was pretty good. Let this focus on the connection that you make. So here I'm not evading much, right? Then as I step in here, this connection is what's crucial. Yeah, so it comes up your center and connects to his sword, and then you keep it connected as you enter in. One of the keys to this is you're controlling the center line and then circumnavigating around it, right? Once you connect it along the center, then you do this Mawari, this rotation around the center. So I want to explore that now without weapons, because sometimes taking the weapons away will open our eyes up to other details. So if James gives me a punch here, right? Okay, see, I'm not doing anything. James is just holding there himself. Okay. That's the kind of stuff Soke does all the time. Bill? So here, right, I rotate. So both James and Bill were hanging on as they fell, right? And that just gave me the hand here. Could you guys hear the crack? Somebody else, please. So the punch comes in. I receive, I rotate. Okay, you see how I've closed the distance here, okay? So, the more tension he gives, sometimes the worse it is for him, right? You notice, like with his tension, he was kind of spinning around himself, trying to escape. Yeah, I didn't have to do much. I just put a little pressure there, and he ends up spinning. Yeah, because he's trying to get away from the pain. So the move is very simple here. He punches, I just receive, rotate, and advance here. Okay, you guys can't see this, but my thumb has hooked his muscles here. Okay, to keep him away from me. Yeah, so you receive down the middle here, and then with the same kind of rotating motion we were just doing, enter in, by using a connection to enter. What you don't want to do is lose that connection and try to enter, because now I'll get socked, right? Because there's always going to be a follow-up or something. So here, by keeping this connection, that can't happen now. Yeah? So, but he fell into this. Like, I didn't try to grab it, he just fell into it. That's the key with these kind of things. Now you can get your weapon out. If you go to Nagato Sensei's classes, he does this a lot, right? But Sensei does too. Sensei talks about just receiving or catching the punch, and it's not catching. It's not catching like grabbing. It's catching like the ball falling into your glove. Okay, that kind of catching. All right, try it, please. Yeah, so it starts, James, at the wrist, right? As you rotate, you go to the elbow, and then as you rotate more, you're up at the shoulder, right? And then maybe in the face. So it advances through those distances, right? Usually somebody doesn't just throw one attack, so there might be two punches, right? So see how I'm on his elbow here? Somebody else. So here, second punch. You okay? Somebody else. See how I'm not grabbing anything, but I have a lot of control here on Bill. Okay. I don't want to do too much because he's got bad knees, but so if Sean had a weapon here or something. Sean's really tied up there with his legs and his hand. Yeah. How'd that whole thing feel to you?
I was just a pretzel.
Yeah.
Everything was.
At the beginning, though, with the two punches.
I didn't feel like you had anything until you had everything.
Right.
Yeah. Like I felt like I just missed you, but then I was completely tied up.
Yeah, you know, that's really interesting that he says it that way, that he didn't feel like I had anything until I had everything. And Soke talks about this all the time. You know, like, he always says, you know, be zero, be nothing, don't take things, right? But capture everything. Capture the whole space. Capture the whole person, the whole spirit. Right? So how do you do that with nothing? Yeah, you use nothing to capture everything. Right, and it's I think it's a really interesting tie-in to this year's theme, that feeling. We're gonna do one last one, and this one might be above all our heads, but we'll try it. Okay. So I'm just keeping this under control here. So, so that attacking to James's hand there would be enough to really, you know, hurt him. So it's just a small control here, right? It's really small controls that I'm using. So I hit Sean's hand there, which would probably make him want to let go. You okay, Sean?
Yeah.
So that iron into his hands, right? That'd probably be enough to make him let go. This mawashi, you're placing this here to guard your head where the sword is cutting to, and you turn underneath. Okay? It looks silly, but it's effective.
It's very confusing.
It is.
Yeah.
Sensei says, like when you're doing, like we started off doing this, right? He says, don't think about blocking. You know, if you think about blocking, then you also get trapped in that moment of trying to block an attack that's already occurred. And so you're really operating in the past, right? So you move beyond the past, you know, into the present or into the future, and you don't block. You just do your mawashi here and come in, okay?